Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. I'm Tracy and I'm going to be giving you guys another Maui's fire update. Today's video is going to be mostly information that I got from one of my sources who is a fire captain based in California with 30 years of experience fighting and investigating fires. He's often the PIO, which is the Public Information Officer. He decided to reach out because hearing about this tragedy raised a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and he says a lot of what happened does not sound right. So let's start out with something that he cleared up that's been going around a lot, and that is the question of, was there an accelerant used to intensify this fire? And I personally did think that there was something. According to him, the accelerant is the high winds and the dried brush on the ground. So that brings up something that he feels is not right, that there should have been some sort of prevention done before the fire. They had already known the high winds were gonna be happening, and they knew that it was the ground was dry. So it's recommended that 30 feet is cleared of flammable material around structures, and that was not done. He kind of explained how the fire got so intense, and he said the main thing is the winds were going, there were gusts up to 95 miles per hour, sustained winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour, and that is enough to get a fire to spread very quickly and become very intense. Okay, I did ask about why were some structures or like some cars not really affected, whereas the ones around them were. And he says that is totally normal fire behavior. And the destruction that he's seen in photos, I'll put some of it up there. The destruction, he says, looks completely normal. And I asked, why did it accelerate so quickly? And he says, again, the light grass was dry and the wind makes the fire faster and hotter and more destructive. The wind actually, or the fire in itself, can create its own like mini climate, and it could create cyclones, and the cyclone can like focus the fire onto a single object, whereas another object nearby isn't affected. So he says that it's very common to see, for example, one building destroyed and some others not. I asked about the cars that had melted glass and metal. He says that is totally normal. He's seen it many times. Aluminum melts pretty easily, and those like squiggly shapes going down of the melted metal, he says he's seen that many times. And glass in cars, it's designed to shatter in event of a fire, and then because the fires, it melts the glass. That's just what happens, and he says he's seen that many times. The thing that won't burn is the steel, which is like the body of the car, which we see in these pictures as well. Okay, so now we're going to go to things that he feels are not right and not normal. The main thing that he has a big problem with is the emergency response. So when a disaster like this is taking place, the mayor and the governor need to know. I don't know if they knew. I can't imagine them not knowing, but they're kind of making it seem like they didn't. That's not an excuse, because they're necessary to declare a state of emergency. So when a state of emergency is declared, there's like a cascade of events that happen. So one of the things that's supposed to happen right away is the local fire department goes to the scene and sizes up the fire, how much lands on fire, how fast it's spreading and everything. From there, they can request support, aircraft, task force, materials, and the resource incident command system, it grows with the natural disaster. So as the fire grows, there's a very specific like cascade of events that happens in order to support the people fighting the disaster, and he didn't see those things happening. Another thing that I asked about is the fact that the police were blocking the roads getting out of the area. He doesn't have any idea why that happened. Maui should already have a specific evacuation plan to get people out of the area in the event of a natural disaster. And he thinks either there was no evacuation plan or the evacuation plan was not implemented. I don't know which one it was. I'm not privy to that information. But even like days after the fire, he said he thought it was odd that there weren't many people on the scene. He says for a fire this big, there should have been about 50 coroners looking for dead bodies, identifying them. But and the coroner, a coroner needs to determine the death, or needs to declare the body dead. No matter what condition the body is in, the coroner is the only one that can make this decision or make this observation. So I've mentioned in previous videos, the chief of police is also the coroner. So that is a little fishy, right? Okay. Other things he thought aren't right. The fact that the phones weren't working at that time. He says there's no reason that should have been, because they should have been sent like a reverse 911 call to every cell phone by the sheriff's department telling them to evacuate. But there were no phones working. He finds that very odd. He's not sure how that happened. Also, the fact the electricity was shut off, which also shut off the pumps to the hydrants. The power company doesn't usually do this until an area is evacuated. And this area was absolutely not evacuated before the power turned off. But it is normal to turn the power off in an event of a big fire. Another thing he finds suspicious is that the point of origin should have been investigated for arson. So I've explained before, there were two fires. They call it the morning fire and the afternoon fire. The afternoon fire is the one that created all this destruction. But the original fire, the morning fire, could have been the source of the second fire. The first fire was reported around 6:30 in the morning, and around 9 in the morning it was declared 100% contained. According to him, this is a very hard thing to do. There are a lot of steps that need to be taken in order to say that a fire is contained, and he doesn't think that that happened. Also, they should have already done an arson investigation. That doesn't seem to have happened or is happening. Another thing he finds very suspicious is that they did not ask for support from other fire departments. The California Fire Department is one of the most well-trained departments in the world, and they provide resources to incidences like this. And he thought, he was certain that he would be called to Maui, so he reported to the station, and that call never happened. So the officials in Maui did not ask for support from other fire departments. He says that is very odd. The California Fire Department has gone to Haiti, has gone to Katrina. There's no reason why they couldn't have gone to Hawaii. They could have been there on a plane and gotten there in 5 hours, but that was just never requested. According to him, he feels this fire was started on purpose, and the chain of events that's supposed to happen in a natural disaster did not happen. And that is very, very suspicious. And I think for most of us, we can see how wrong that was. And until things are uncovered, we won't know like what exactly caused that to happen. I really don't know. I know there's a lot of people with their suspicions of why. I just don't know. But the main message that I wanted to give is that the characteristics of the fire and the destruction that we saw is normal, but the response to the fire is very much not normal. There was a complete lack of resources. There was no attempt to evacuate people and to warn people about the fire. And he also said the fact that they said they didn't want people to think it was a tsunami, that is completely unacceptable. And I've gone over this before, and I think most people agree that that is made up. And there should have been alerts given to people through their cell phone. These things are already set up. I'm sure many of you have gotten one of these emergency alerts. We got an emergency alert about a week ago for a very small earthquake that most of us didn't even feel. We got an alert on our phone saying there was a earthquake, you know, where it was. So that is a big question, right? Why weren't more people alerted, and why wasn't there an attempt to evacuate people? That could have made a huge difference. And you know, also the fact that a lot of the people at home were children, and that is not being addressed. You know, there should be some kind of plan to find out who these children were and to identify them right away and find out, are they deceased? Are they missing? Have they been kidnapped? I mean, that just seems like common sense. And I have not heard from a single official that there is a plan in place to figure this out. And that in itself is a huge, huge problem. So I'm going to end with that. I hope you guys found this information helpful. I have another one in the works. I'm going to try to get this stuff up as soon as I can. I know there's a lot of need for information, so I'm doing my best. I'm working nonstop, but I am a one-person, one-woman team. I do all my research and all my editing and filming and everything, so I'm working hard to get as much of this information out to you guys. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.